Let's move into the rising stars category, and we'll tighten it up. We'll keep it moving here. But the rising stars category, guys, coaches that I think if they went somewhere else, it would be first of all a very talked about hiring. It would be a big time promotion because it would probably be one of these national championship like programs that was trying to hire them, right? For a variety of reasons. So in this category, we've got SMU, Rhett Lashley. I've got Jeff Monken at Army, Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State, Brent Key at Georgia Tech, Kurt Cignetti at Indiana, and Fran Brown at Syracuse. Not all of these guys are at the same level of rising stardom. I think Rhett Lashley is the furthest along this track, and I don't think Jeff Monken, quite honestly, is ever going to leave Army. So, don't think that I'm putting all of these guys at square one and saying, now go. It's a race to get to Oklahoma or, insert blue blood program here. But I do think all of these guys share characteristics in that they're winning at less than situations, right? It's not taking the resources of Oregon for them to turn a program into a winner, to get to 10 wins, to get the buy-in. Again, Monken at Army. Army has been an afterthought for so long, and they've really struggled to adapt to the modern take on college football and the speed, and yet Monken has come in and he has gotten the most out of this program that maybe we'll ever see. And, I talked about that with the Always Talking Ball guys that when we were talking about the scheduling of the Army-Navy game, I think because you have a job like Jeff Monken who is perpetually getting the most out of that program, I think you almost have to reschedule that Army-Navy game because otherwise you might be holding Army back from being able to reach their fullest potential, right? Play in a healthy championship game or maybe even a playoff game. If you have a really special season, I think Dillingham is also another popular name on that list, right? And everybody seems to be applauding him, not only for his work on the field, but also off the field as well. He just seems like a really good guy. So I think, rising stars are just like super likable coaches. I honestly, I don't know that other than their team's like first and permanent rival, I don't see how anybody in the country is rooting against these coaches.
I think Cignetti lost some fans with his comments after the playoff game, but I still love the confidence that he had coming into the season. The Google Me I Win, for as much as that was made into a meme, that's a perfect situation. That's a perfect attitude when you're coming into a place like Indiana. But yeah, I love this tier. A lot of positivity here. 3 guys that made the playoff very early in their tenures or even in the first year in Cignetti's case at their respective school. And 3 other guys that are really interesting from a program building standpoint. You talk about Brent Key at Georgia Tech and what he's been able to do. How many years in a row have we sat here? It's at least 2 that we've sat here in August and said, man, the schedule for Georgia Tech, I don't know. They've got a lot of fun pieces, and maybe I'm just talking about myself because I know you guys are on the bandwagon, but for myself, I've said, yeah, I love him as a coach, a lot of fun pieces, but holy crap, that schedule is just going to be brutal. And he's found a way to make a bowl game in back-to-back years. And I think we should start to expect that and expect a bigger jump from Georgia Tech going forward because they're in a talent-based hotbed. They have a ton of access to really good players. Atlanta's a great city to recruit to out of the transfer portal as well. So there's going to be a ton of opportunity for him to jump up.
Well, to your point about Brent Key there, he's having to do this while also fighting off everyone else that's trying to raid the state of Georgia, right? Like, first off, the Georgia Bulldogs are also in your state, and they have been very good at recruiting and getting the talent they want. So having to fend them off and then fend off, anybody from Florida, anybody from the Carolinas, people throughout the SEC that are trying to come into your state, take all your good players, trying to convince any of them to stay home and get your guys and then go win in the portal and convince them to come and play a tough schedule. It's a heck of a job. But one other thing I like about a couple of these guys, and I know it's true of Dillingham and of Brent Key, but I don't know if it's anybody else on this list, but a couple of guys that went to their schools. And, in today's college football, it's really easy to just kind of sit there and talk about the money side of it. But you can see with both of these guys, they want to win at their spot because it's their school, right? Dillingham gets in with the students. He wants to party. He wants to have a fun time, right? When the students were rushing the field and he's screaming, it's over, right? And he's like doing that. That's because he's one of those guys. He wants to party with the students because that's where he went to school. He gets it. He understands the culture. Brent Key, like going in there, beating top teams, being able to go on the field and say like, hey, like this is my program that I'm building up, and we're finally starting to win some big games. That's huge for him because it's his school. It's where he played football, right? He played offensive line at Georgia Tech. It's big for him to be able to take that too. So like to me, that's even more fun. And we talk about rising stars. Maybe they do something at their next stop. It's not to say that neither of those guys would take another job, but it's really cool to see them winning at their current spot where they went to school, being able to say like, I'm building something for the thing that I love. It's just different for today's college football.
Yeah, I think there's an element of against the odds, right, to each of these guys. And, even Rhett Lashley at SMU, a program that has a ton of money and wants to win at football in the heart of Dallas, there's a lot of challenges that come with being the head coach at SMU, right? SMU has been an afterthought for so long in the state of Texas, since the death penalty, really. So, big kudos to everybody in this list.
Gracious him! How about